Namaste. Welcome to the series of talks on Hastha Yoga, that is, yoga through hands. In the series, this is the fourth talk. In the previous talk, number 3, the speaker has touched upon the vital principles that control asana. And one principle we have examined in detail, and that is breathing. Breathing is essential in asana. It's an important principle in asana. The speaker has already made it very clear that performing asana is totally different from doing any other physical exercise outside. Therefore, while performing an asana, we need to focus our attention on breathing. It is the breathing that is more important in performing asana. The breathing here is comprising both inhaling and exhaling, and these two to be synchronized properly while performing asana. Along with these two elements in breathing, there comes retention in between, and this retention also is very important. How much retention we should have while performing the asana, in between inhaling and exhaling, and after exhaling, how much retention should we maintain. All these points are to be kept in mind while performing asana, because this breathing must go hand in hand with the asana. Then alone synchronization takes place. This synchronization is what is the ultimate object of asana. It's not like doing the asana in our own way as we do in our physical exercise. In the physical exercise, there is no regularity of breathing. The breathing goes irregular, but that cannot be applied in asana. If our breathing is irregular, our asana also goes awry, and therefore it affects our body, the body parts. So we need to exercise care, especially while performing asana. And this vital principle called breathing is very important. It plays a very significant role in the asana. In the present talk, we will take up another crucial principle that controls asana, that is stretching. And along with stretching, stands balancing. Let's first examine what is stretching. Now, stretching is very important because we need to keep this kind of difference between physical exercise and performing asana. In physical exercise, we don't mind um, stretching our body, our limbs, our hands, our stomach, our back, our neck, and so on. But in asana, the part and of which a particular asana is dealt with um, has to be taken note of how much stretching we should apply there in that particular part. It depends on the capacity, um, how much we can withstand the asana, the particular posture. Now, stretching the legs, stretching the hands, stretching the belly, stretching the back, stretching the neck, stretching the limbs. All these are vital in performing asana. If our body is not properly stretched, then the muscles, the tension in the muscles will not be released. So stretching is very important. For instance, take the Padmasana. When we perform the Padmasana with the two of our legs crossed, one upon the other, placing one foot, the left foot at the right groin and the right foot at the left groin, we cannot just slump down like this in that posture. Then the asana is not correct. So asana must the correct balancing must be maintained. So what we need to stretch our back like this, stretching the back. So when you stretch the back, what happens? The spinal cord is straight, and your position, sitting position, will be in the rectangular and L shape, 90 degrees angle, right? Now, this back position is very important in the Padmasana. The neck should be straight, the head should be straight, the face should look straight. Mhm. Um, so you will see that there is a perfect. No, this can happen only when the back is properly stretched, right? If it is not properly stretched, then it slumps. It slumps like this, then it becomes like this, the back. Then it is not called the asana. So the back must be stretched. So as much as you want to stretch, you no need to do that. But in the beginning, the beginners may find it difficult to stretch the muscles, the body parts. So because of the fermentation of the body, fermentation of the muscles tissues, this fermentation takes place because when we have um, uh, an hygienic food habits. For instance, when we take more food that comprises more salt, spices, and chilies, then fermentation takes place in the body. When the fermentation takes place, muscles will become stiff. So stretching cannot happen. So therefore, what you need to approach this stretching from the food. So the food is very important. The intaking of our food is very important. You need to reduce the salt. The spices is better. Um, the spices are totally abandoned, and the chilies need to be properly mm, taken care of. So the salt, the reduction of salt, and the chilies and the spices, of course, you need to give up the spices totally. Otherwise, fermentation takes place a lot. So therefore, a little bland kind of food that you need to take so that it stops fermentation in the body. When the fermentation stops in the body, the muscles becomes little supple. They can be easily bent. They can be easily stretched. Um, so this point you need to note. Mm, so the beginners may find it difficult because of this wrong food habit that we have. So we need to rectify that wrong food habit. Once we rectify that wrong food habit, let's say for instance, um, for a few days survive on fruits and greens and vegetables, boiled vegetables, and you will see a drastic change, a difference in your body. So the body will become a little flexible. So the muscles will cooperate, the body will cooperate with you while performing an asana. Otherwise, the body will not cooperate with you. This cooperating the body with you is very important in performing asana. Why do we get distractions? Because we the body does not cooperate with us. Why does the body uh, and not cooperate with us? The reason the speaker has just now specified, because of the wrong food habits that we have. So when we control our food habits, when we streamline our food habits, then there will be some change in our body, in the constitution of our body, and then the muscles will cooperate with us. The body, the total body will cooperate with us while performing asana. This cooperation is very important for stretching the legs, limbs, hands, the back, and the stomach, and so on. Because the point here is as you stretch your legs, as you stretch your limbs, as you stretch your hands, as for instance, when you stand and then bend down without bending your kneecaps, and if your palms can touch, at least even the tip of the fingers can touch the floor, and without bending the kneecaps, then you have achieved a remarkable success in performing this particular asana. So the stretching is very important. When you stretch, what happens? Uh, the muscles, the stiffness in the muscles will get loosened. The tension in the muscles will go away. The tissues will get activated. The cells will also get activated because there is a pulling and pushing. And therefore, what happens in that pulling and pushing and stretching, the whole muscles, the tissues, the cells all get activated. So the cells are pulled uh, on either sides, and what happens? The accumulated toxins in the cells will get burned, and then they will be released, and the blood will be pumped the into each and every cell of our of that particular part of the body. And as the blood circulation increases, then the purification also takes place. More oxygen is pumped. This is very important in the asana. The stretching of our muscles, stretching of our limbs, hands, and so on. Now, this stretching must go along with the principle of balancing. Now, balancing is another principle, a vital principle in asana. Balancing means remaining in that posture without moving our body, this side or that side, paying a complete attention on that particular part of the body. This is somewhat difficult in the beginning because stretching and balancing are the two sides of the same coin. They must go hand in hand. Where there is stretching, there should be balancing. So the stretching uh, must be synchronized with balancing the asana. This balancing can be achieved by three ways. One is by true breathing, by focusing our attention on our breathing. When you focus your attention on our breathing, what happens? We do not have any distractions because the complete focus is on the breathing. So, as the speaker has already said about the first principle of breathing in asana, so focusing on breathing will stop the distraction of our attention. So the balancing because the breathing and the mind are properly linked with each other. There is a there is a link between our breathing and our thought process, our thinking. So when you focus our attention on breathing, on our inhaling and exhaling, what happens? our thinking will also get arrested. So the whole mind is brought and focused on your breathing, so that this breathing is again synchronized with the performing of your asana. So this is the way the channelizing the energy um, from the breathing to to the vital parts of the body, the particular posture in which the particular part plays a significant role. So this breathing and the asana is perfectly synchronized. There is a focus, and therefore this focus will make your body stretch as much as you can. Now, the second aspect in balancing is concentrating on performing the asana. This is very important. Once again, this concept, that is bringing the mind and focusing it on the asana. This can happen. The concentration can happen when we focus our attention on breathing. As the speaker has already said, that there is a link between our breathing and our thought process. So once we focus our attention on breathing, the thought process will also be controlled. The too many distractions in our mind will be arrested. So the mind will be brought to an attention wherein the focus will be more on that particular part of the body which a particular asana emphasizes. So this is very important. This is the second aspect. Breathing, focusing on breathing and focusing our mind. That is, the mind should be the thought. There should be only one single thought, and that thought should be only on the body. So our attention is not distracted. Even our eyes will be on performing the asana. When our eyes are on that part of the body, which is focused in a particular asana, then it improves our concentration power. Then it brings it is a preparatory stage for dhyana, to move to dhyana, because in dhyana the mind, the distracted mind has to be arrested. But how it is to be done? So therefore, in the yoga, in the yogic philosophy, especially in the Patanjali's yoga, and even in the Hatha yogic text, other Hatha yogic says asana is given more importance, because asana prepares you steadily for the higher realm of the spiritual life, that is dhyana. So asana, when you master your asana, it is very easy to sit in Padmasana and do meditation. So dhyana is it cannot happen unless the mind, the body is made steady. How to make the body steady? It's only in through asana that the body is made steady and stable and flexible. Now, these are very important in performing asana. So, in this talk, the speaker has focused on two vital principles apart from breathing that we have already examined in our previous talk. These two vital principles are or stretching and balancing must go hand in hand along with our breathing. You see how these three have to be synchronized: breathing, stretching, and balancing. All these must be synchronized. And we have three more principles in the asana. We shall examine those three more principles in our next talks. Namaste. Thank you very much.